Okay, in the last few videos and the reviews, you saw me working at an office, at a workstation that was provided to me by my clients. And I now just got back home, actually was using the Evergoods CB22. Check out the first impressions in the info tab above, but also don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the review of the Evergoods CB22. It's an amazing backpack. And now I just got home and yeah, let's do a quick tour of my home studio, home office, and my desk with my main workstation that I use to edit all of these YouTube videos, but also to do remote editing. Alright, before I show you the main station, my desk and everything that is on this desk, let me show you the background first, because it is really important, at least in my humble opinion, to have a really good background. And more importantly, if you shoot an A-roll, I would always recommend to sit as far away from your background as possible to create some depth in your picture. I actually got about 3 meters from this wall to my desk over there. That way, everything that is in the background in my A-roll shots, A-roll meaning the shots where you can see me in the frame talking to the camera, all of the background is blurry. And you kind of want that, as I said, to create some depth in your pictures. So what I got in the background is 2 lights and 3 practical lights. Practical means all of the lights that are visible in the frame. So in my case, actually there are more practicals because you could consider this a practical. But for me at the moment, I consider these lamps that I got from IKEA that are supposed to be decorative. That's what I call like my practical lights. So also my little neon light Happy and these 2 IKEA lights. The other 2 lights, this is the Godox TL, short for Tube Light 60, which I use to either illuminate my EDC shots, top-down shots and stuff like that, but also for my podcast or my A-roll, I put this in its RGB mode into blue. I really love this light. This is so versatile because on one hand, you can use it to illuminate a scene with a good Kelvin temperature setting, but also it has a very wide illuminating area. So the bigger the light source, the more softer it will appear on your image. This is still somewhat of a hard source depending on where you position it, but for a tube light it is fairly long, fairly big, and therefore you can easily use it to illuminate, for example, what's on my desk or what's on my EDC videos. So very versatile, and then switching it to RGB for a really cool background kicker light. Then next over here to my fake plant. I have fake plants here and I'm really sorry. I already know that some people scoff at that, but all of the plants that I had here unfortunately died. I'm not that great with plants, so that is why I got myself these fake plants, which look really cool in the background in my humble opinion. And I positioned this small little Pixel G1 LED light. The same like with the tube light, you can switch it to regular Kelvin temperatures or to RGB mode. So I put those 2 into the same blue just to give some contrast. And I chose blue because everything else in this room is quite warm. So I wanted a heavy contrast and I chose this blue RGB color to have some kicker in the background. Especially considering all of my lenses have a black Pro Mist filter on them, meaning that they somewhat bloom all of the light sources. By the way, I link all of the items that I mentioned in this video in the description below. Those are affiliate links, and with those you won't pay more, but you will support this channel if you consider getting one of those items and using those affiliate links, because there will be a small kickback of that sale. If you do so and support this channel, thank you very much. What else? Yeah, as I said, for me it's really important to have the background as far away as possible. Obviously not all of you have a room that is this big, and I'm very fortunate to have this office space for myself and therefore having such a long area. What I would recommend, if you have not a big room, instead of like positioning yourself against the wall, shoot diagonally into the room. That will create some space and some depth in your picture, in your A-roll. So if you can, position the camera diagonally into the room and kind of shoot into a corner. Sit as far as away from the corner and then create depth by having the longest length of that room being diagonally and create that A-roll that way. So that would be my quick tip if you want to shoot some A-roll in a small little room. And here is like my little cart with all of the accessories that I need. And I'm honest, I don't have like this very clean, organized office. And I'm showing you basically how it usually is. It's always somewhat messy here in the background. All of my fight gear for Muay Thai and boxing, gloves, pads and stuff like that. I need to keep them like that so they can air out. Meaning everything is a little bit unorganized, let's say that way. And I honestly always wonder how people in these YouTube videos keep their space that clean. And I somewhat admire it, and I would love if my space would be that clean and that organized all of the time. But on the other hand, I'm thinking, how can you do that? Are you always kind of like cleaning up most of the day instead of working? And I'm working here a lot, so there is always stuff laying around. And if I'm not editing, I'm working out. If I'm not doing regular work, I need to do taxes, and then I have all of the paper lying around. So I always wonder, how do people keep their spaces where they actually work that clean? And I cannot keep stuff clean, as you maybe can tell. It's always a little bit unorganized, and once you see my desk you will know what I mean. But this is a small little card that I got from IKEA, where I attached this little pack board on here, where I have, for example, these Shark power banks, but also measuring tape. Here on the top I store all of my camera related stuff, like my Lumix GX80, which I'm actually trying to sell at the moment. If anyone in Germany wants to buy this camera, feel free to hit me up. I'm trying to sell that. Then I attached these little hooks to store my tripod. Then here is all of my teleprompter stuff. Then on the bottom I have my very old Oculus One headset. I'm actually doing a lot of virtual reality boxing with Thrill of the Fight. That is part of my fitness routine as well. When I'm not in the gym training Muay Thai, that is actually a cool way to kind of burn some more calories when you're not in the gym and you're at home. When I do Thrill of the Fight, I actually put some 0.5 kilograms weights on my wrists to kind of make all of that a little bit more difficult. Yeah, but that is my small little tool cart. All right, now here we have another IKEA shelf. I don't know what you call it, like organizing shelf or with drawers. But this is great to have my printer. I really hate printers because they usually don't work that well, but this one from, I think it's from Brother, works quite well. It's a laser printer, the scanner is okay. And here we have 6 drawers that I labeled with gaffer's tape. I really like gaffer's tape. So if you didn't notice it, I always use this green gaffer's tape. The good thing about gaffer's tape is that you can remove it without leaving glue residue on wherever it was sticked on. So I use gaffer's tape a lot, and I labeled that stationary, camera equipment, random, SSDs, cable, gear, documents. And again, for me it's really hard to keep stuff very organized or very clean, and I know that is terrible. I already can see in some comments that people will say, oh, that's so messy, that's so unorganized. But hey, I'm working here. That's just how it is. This actually is, I'm really gotten into Magic the Gathering lately. I got here a couple of boosters that I still need to open up. Here are some Dragon Shields. Check out my second channel where I just recently did an unboxing of a couple of booster packs. For those of you who don't know, Magic the Gathering is a trading card game, and I love it. So that is this first one. Then we have my camera drawer with cables, some lav mics, everything that I need sometimes, not most of the times. I rarely go to this drawer lately. Then underneath, random, my old MacBook Pro that my wife will get because I just got myself a 14-inch MacBook Pro. This is an Intel edition. Then this is probably the most important drawer that I have for all of the cables, USB-C cables, SSDs, hard drives and stuff like that I need for work, then a gear drawer, stuff that I don't really know where to put, like my mechanical keyboards that I don't use at the moment because I have been using a new one that you will see in just a second, and then just a drawer for documents. That's basically everything that I got in this drawer. And before we go to the main section of this video, which is my desk with my workstation, you probably have noticed a lot of cool music in this video. That is all from the sponsor of today's video. Every piece of content can be heavily elevated with the right soundtrack. And every track in this video that you have heard so far comes from today's sponsor, Sonata.media. Whether you're a content creator or simply someone who appreciates high-quality tunes, Sonata.media is your go-to source for premium, artist-focused, royalty-free music. Browse a clean interface with the easy-to-use search parameters where you can filter by mood, genre, theme, or just instrumentals. And if you're not sure what fits your project, dive into expertly curated playlists designed to inspire. With competitive plans starting at just €8.90, you get unlimited downloads and a perpetual license, so your music is yours to use in that project forever. Upgrade your content with music that feels unique and not like generic stock audio. Visit Sonata.media today. Link in the description. Thank you very much, Sonata, for sponsoring segments of this video. Alright, now to the main workstation, and yeah, I'm loving this desk and everything that is on here. Let's get this chair out of the way first so I can move it to the side. This is the Herman Miller Aeron chair, and I actually got this at least, I would say 13 years. I bought this in the early years when I started freelancing, and I always wanted to get one of these chairs because I thought I work a lot from home. I need to invest in something that is comfortable, is durable. It is so comfortable. It is so high quality. And I actually bought it refurbished. So instead of the high price tag, I think if you buy it new, it's over €1,000. But I only bought it for €750, which is still a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. This is a lot of money. And I was very aware of that when I invested in this chair. But now considering that I have been owning and using this for over 10 years and I'm sitting on this at least 6 hours each day, even on weekends as I work on YouTube videos, right? So this is the MVP of all of my work basically. It is extremely comfortable, and I think this was, for me at least, a really good investment, and I do not regret this. And if this breaks down, I probably get a new one because I just know this holds up such a long time. The only thing that kind of is messed up is this area where the mesh kind of got loose. I just used some needle and thread and then just kind of repaired it myself. But yeah, that is my chair. Let's get that out of the way. Now, this is my desk. This is a desk that you can switch from sitting to standing desk. This is from Ergo Solutions. In hindsight, I would have wished I didn't get the white desk. I probably will switch this white desk to something else or use kind of like a motorcycle carve wrap and make this something else because the white is actually really boring. On the desk itself, I have the Orbitkey Deskmat, which I really like a lot. But there are two things that I don't like about it. Starting with the things that I liked. You have underneath this a place to store away papers, which is good to keep everything clean. But what I noticed is I forget about that. So I put something underneath there in hopes to kind of clean up my desk. And then 3 weeks later, I'm like, where was that paper? And then I noticed, oh, everything is underneath here. So I stopped storing like papers in this middle area. Next thing that I really like is this magnetic cable organization thingy. I don't know how to call it, but this magnetic cable organizer is in this channel, which is really good to store away, for example, in my case, lip balm or pens or whatever. This is really cool to kind of keep that in place. What I don't like about this desk mat is this felt underneath here is very slippery. So the desk mat is always like wobbling around on my desk. I actually don't like that as much. I was thinking about taping this to this desk, but I just didn't do it yet. Maybe I will do that in the future. But other than that, this is really cool desk mat. On top of that, I have my favorite mouse, the Logitech MX Master 3. I use this at home, and when I'm going to an office, I actually still use my Logitech MX Master 1S, which is a testament to how durable these mice are. Really good quality mice, and I like that they are very ergonomic. And speaking of ergonomic, this brings us to the keyboard that has been such an eye-opener for me. I love mechanical keyboards, and you have seen in the drawers, but also on this video, quite often that I use my timber mechanical keyboard when I'm going to the office or when I'm working at home, because I want a mechanical keyboard not only for their feel, but I want that keyboard to have the QMK VIA option, meaning you can store macros in your setup on the keyboard itself. So when you're going to a different workstation, all of your key bindings are the same on that keyboard. And this new keyboard has that feature as well. However, as you can already tell, this is a split keyboard, making it much more ergonomic, because instead of being your hands very close to each other, right, you move your hands a little bit further apart, and therefore everything, it's not that cramp on your shoulders, right, on your elbows. So everything moving out a little bit further is already an ergonomical benefit. More importantly, you can actually tent this. So instead of your hands laying flat and potentially also like tilting up in this direction, it rather tilts up your hands into a more natural position where your bones, I'm not a doctor, so please excuse if I misquote this a little bit. But as far as I understand, the two bones that are in your forearms, because your hands are a little tilted in the natural position, these two bones don't kind of rub against each other that much, which I honestly in the beginning thought that isn't that noticeable, but now having used this for over 1.5 months, I actually notice how much comfortable it is. Plus, this keyboard being split, I still struggle typing without looking at it, but I noticed that because everything is split apart, I actually use the left hand for that side and the right hand for that side instead of like going over cross with the fingers, you know? And that is why I really love this keyboard. This is the Nocfree 65% split keyboard. It is amazing. The key switches are great. The keycaps look amazing. Unfortunately, I'm German, so I had to get myself some stickers for some of the keycaps to kind of remind myself where like the brackets are and stuff like that. This is an amazing keyboard. I love this keyboard. Highly recommend this. This monitor is amazing. I can highly recommend it if you don't want to spend that much money for an Apple display. This one, Dell 4K monitor. Great, love it. Perfect monitor for me to work on. Right next to it, if we continue with the monitors, this is the LG monitor that has this really weird shape, which is in a portrait kind of orientation. And I really want this because on this side, I actually have all of my bins in the editing software. And because it is in a vertical orientation, I can kind of make that window really long and then see everything that is in that bin. For editing, that is amazing. So my main editing window is on this one. Then I have all of the bins in this window. And then over here, I have the UPerfect monitor that I have reviewed. You can see that video in the info tab above. This is a dual setup, which I either use when I'm working at the client. I can bring that with me. It is on a removable little swivel. At the bottom, I actually put all of my entertainment. Whenever I'm editing, maybe I watch a YouTube video, maybe I watch some Netflix, I put that on here. So I'm working here, have my emails and my bins on this one, and I'm watching some stuff over here or play music, or have my notes that I need for work over here. And in the top one, it shows me what I'm editing on at the moment. Looks maybe like an overkill setup, but for me, it's a dream command station basically. And for those of you who don't know, I do a lot of remote editing with directors and clients. So I actually need that much window real estate. So what I usually do when I'm remote editing, still main editing, whatever I'm editing, I see here, notes, And then on the top here, right to my lens, I usually have a Teams window, so I don't look too off away from the lens when I'm talking to the director or to the clients. And because I'm remote editing or recording my A-rolls or doing my podcast, I obviously need a proper mic. This is the Rode Procaster mic that is connected to the Vocaster one, which is basically my audio interface for podcasts, but also is connected to my camera, which is the Blackmagic BMPC-C 4K, which either records me for my A-roll, but also interacts as a webcam. And that camera is connected via HDMI to the Blackmagic ATEM Mini, which has been the MVP during COVID, because this is the central hub why my remote editing has been working so great. Because this is a switcher for video and audio sources that converts that signal into a webcam signal. So this goes straight via USB-C into my computer and then, for example, into Microsoft Teams to give my clients a very smooth remote editing experience. There are better solutions in terms of image quality, but you need to keep in mind most clients don't want to deal with a lot of difficult technical tinkering, let's say it that way. And being able to just say, hey, I have a Teams call, this is just to kind of show you a quick session for editing without needing that much quality, because I will send them a file anyways. But during that process where we want to quickly discuss edits, this is the easiest way to talk to clients without them having to deal with a VPN and then, I don't know, a streaming server or whatever. So being able to utilize all of this setup into a Teams call and the client only needing to log into a Teams call has been such a good solution for me to provide my clients a very easy and streamlined solution for remote editing. So Blackmagic ATEM Mini, great little piece of hardware. All of that goes into my Mac Studio with an M1 Ultra with a lot of gigabytes of RAM. This thing, the Mac Studio M1 Ultra, is the beast, and it is still such a good workhorse. I recently bought a MacBook Pro M3 Pro, and I noticed, while that is a great computer and I did not kind of plan on using it for editing, I sometimes edit on that for my YouTube videos, but I noticed that the M3 Pro, whilst being a good processor, is nothing compared to the M1 Ultra. This thing is such a good chip. I still foresee that at least I will use it the whole 2025 and then maybe I upgrade it 2026. But this thing works perfectly and I do not regret buying this before COVID. Love that computer. Mac Studio is amazing. On the back, you will see my mess. I don't know how people do cable management. Cable management, I would love to be able to do proper cable management. But honestly, what I notice is you have so many different cable thicknesses, but also cable length. A Thunderbolt cable is so expensive if you get a long one. And to do proper cable management, at least for me, I would need so many long cables and different types of cables to be able to properly kind of route all of the cables in the back of this computer. I wasn't able to do it. And I'm honestly not going to buy a 5-meter Thunderbolt cable because already a 1-meter Thunderbolt cable is so expensive. That is why I have the huge mess in the back of my desk. But as I said, I admire all of the people that have a clean desk and a clean cable management. I just can't do it. So sorry. But hey, that's honest, right? It doesn't look that great. I mean, on the other hand, here all of my papers, then some more Magic the Gathering cards. I work here, that's why it's messy. I cleaned up a little bit, of course, but before it was even more messier than this. Then continuing with the setup, obviously when you're editing, you need to listen to whatever you're editing. I have this really cool Edifier M3 Studio speakers. These are amazing and they look good. I love the white. Unfortunately, a little bit eggshell white, so it doesn't match up properly to my white desk. Still, I love the appeal of it because on black items, you will see dust more obviously, but but on these whites, whenever there is dust on them, I don't see it. And I really like this little speakers in the middle with this bronze reddish color to it. Really like that a lot. Moreover, you have multiple connections. I connect them via cable to my Yamaha mixer, but also you have Bluetooth. Then you can kind of switch the modes. You can use studio mode, which I use, which is important for editing, which gives you a very flat sound profile to give you the best hearing evaluation, because whatever you're mixing, you want a clean, flat sound profile to be able to evaluate your edit. But you can also switch it to hi-fi mode, which gives you a more pleasant listening experience if you just want to listen to music. But then you also have a custom EQ mode. I always leave it in studio mode because I'm editing here, and that gives me a flat sound profile. Really love these speakers. Highly recommend them. As I said, these are connected to my soundboard mixer, which is the Yamaha AG06. So I actually connect that via USB-C to my Mac Studio. So the sound goes into the Yamaha mixer, then to the speakers, but also it goes into some headphones, which are either my Rode NTH100 or my Sennheiser HD25. Sometimes when I'm editing at night, I just want to use some headphones so I don't bother my wife, or when I'm in a video call, I obviously need some headphones. That is why I opted to have a soundboard mixer, to have speakers and headphones connected to one place right here with hardware knobs where I can kind of adjust the sound and then switch on the fly. And speaking of video call, last but not least, I also need a main Keylight. Right? You want to look somewhat good in your video calls, but also when I'm recording my A-rolls, I need to illuminate the face, right? So that is my main Keylight. This softbox is from a company that isn't available anymore. It is Creative Light, but the light that is inside, that is the Colbor light. I already reviewed that in the video that you also can see in the info tab above. Great light, really love that. Has been working for all of my A-roll, all of my podcasts and my video calls. Great little light. Yes, and that were all of the items that I use on a daily basis to work here in my little office, to create my YouTube videos, to work as a freelance film editor for all of my podcasts, and I love it here. And yeah, I hope you really liked this video. And again, if you consider getting any of these items, check out the affiliate links below. With those you won't pay more, but you will support this channel with a small kickback of that sale. And if you want to check out other tech-related filmmaking kind of gear, check out the video up here. And YouTube thinks that you like the video down here. And don't forget to subscribe by clicking the button up here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.